Hello and welcome to the September 12th edition of Speedway Digest. Once again, I did Speedway Digest. Hello and welcome to the September 12th edition of Thursday Night Thunder podcast with AJ and M.M.K. This is episode 6 of the series. I'm your host, Adam Jason Sinclair, and tonight on the most hardcore program on the internet, Mike and I will once again bring you the latest and best discussion about the world of modern motorsports. A total of 13 different starting positions have led to victories in the NASCAR Cup Series at Watkins Glen International. The pole, or first starting position, is the most proficient starting position in the field, producing more winners, 10, than any other starting position at Watkins Glen International in the NASCAR Cup Series, at 25%.
NASCAR Hall of Famers Dale Earnhardt from 1990, 92, and 96, Mark Martin, Hall of Famer of 1993, 94, and 95, and Jeff Gordon, 1998, 03, and 14, lead the NASCAR Cup Series in poles at Watkins Glen International with 3 poles each. Richard Childress Racing's Kyle Busch, 2011 and 2017, and Hendrick Motorsports' Chase Elliott, 2019 and 2022, lead all active drivers in poles at Watkins Glen with 2 each.
This weekend, 5 of the 22 NASCAR Cup Series pole winners at Watkins Glen International entered in the Go Bowling at the Glen: Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, AJ Allmendinger, and Juan Pablo Montoya. Earlier today, I was able to catch up with AJ Allmendinger, courtesy of his sponsor, Celsius. I apologize for that. Let me go ahead and do something a little bit different here. We're going to broadcast through the speaker. Hopefully that works. Let's give this a shot. Here again is AJ Allmendinger.
Yeah, it's this partnership's been great. Celsius was a company that when I first got to College Racing in 2019, I just their product was inside the shop. I'd honestly never seen it, never tried it, and for me, just getting to taste it right away, I really enjoyed it. To see from there to what this partnership is built to, winning races together. It's been a lot of fun. I think it's the essentials that are in Celsius definitely help me with training, like every day trying to go work out, have the energy to get everything that I need to do to prepare for the race weekends. I definitely use every day. So, it's been a great partnership that I hope we can keep building on. And it's, for me, I've been doing this for so long. I really enjoy products that I can use, so I can speak on behalf of and actually use. And Celsius is definitely one of those that I use every day.
What are your goals going into this weekend at Watkins Glen?
Well, the ultimate goal is always to win both races, win the Xfinity race, win the Cup race. That's, if you don't show up to the race with those goals, then you shouldn't be showing up. But at the end of the day, honestly, I think it's about trying to be at our best. If we go out there on either day and we do everything right, I'm at my best, no mistakes, team makes no mistakes, and you finish third and that's what you're meant to finish, then that's the day. I think that's how I look at it. Is we're at our best and we make no mistakes. Wherever we finish is where we finish. Just trying to make sure that we do everything right.
The other day, the big announcement was that Kyle Larson's going to attempt doing the double again next year in Indianapolis as well as in Charlotte. I know you're a past Indy racing driver. Have you ever thought about trying that yourself?
A long time ago, if the option was there, I would have. Now, I definitely won't. But I think Kyle Larson is the best that we have just in motorsports right now. And what happened this year was very disappointing, I think, just for all of us as fans to be able to get to see it with the rain. So hopefully next year it's better weather and we get to see him in both. But yeah, it's something that a while ago I definitely would have tried.
Of all the NASCAR drivers out there in the playoffs now, who do you think will make it to the Final Four?
Ooh, good question. I think Larson for sure. I think Reddick, he's kind of raised his game. He's so good, but that team right now is very strong. I still feel like Denny will get there, even though he had a bad Atlanta. I think he's been fast all year. He knows how to get to Phoenix. So I think he'll be there. And then the fourth one to me is between William Byron and Christopher Bell. And that's the tough one. I think if I have to pick right now, I'd say Christopher Bell.
What do you think your personal strength?
You were cutting out there, Adam. What was that question?
What are your greatest strengths that you bring to your car and racing in general?
Yeah, I think it's my passion for sure. My just the ability of trying to feel like I want to put everything on my shoulders to try to help raise our game in the organization. That's something that I take personally, and when we're struggling, I put on my shoulders to try to make us better. Everything. The thing that I've always wanted people that work with me to say is that I truly care about being at my best, being caring about the people that work on the race car, just having them know how much it means to me that they put the effort in, and that I'm going to go out there and do everything I can to be at our best. And that's the biggest thing that I've always just really wanted people to say about me that have worked with me.
I know in the past you've done a lot of sports car racing in IMSA and that sort of thing. Next year with your full-time schedule in NASCAR, you're going to have time for IMSA races.
It's been a while since I've ran I think probably, I'd say 3 or 4 years ago that I've been in IMSA. If the right opportunity at Rolex jumps up, then I'll definitely look at it. Other than that, with our schedule, we have one off weekend next year, so I'm pretty sure there's no chance to run any of those races. And it's difficult just because those guys have they're full-time drivers in it. So, but I love IMSA. I love the Rolex 24-hour race. I think it's one of the coolest races on the planet. So I'm always open to doing that.
My final question: what are you looking forward to most next year with your continued partnership with Celsius in the 2024 NASCAR season?
Yeah, I think next year moving back up full time to the Cup Series. The biggest thing is just trying to grow the program at college racing, make the Cup side of it better. I think we have a lot of we got a few young guys that are coming into our organization. Christian Eckes, I think, is one of the guys that over the next couple of years will be a superstar in the sport. Daniel Dye's done a great job in the race that he's run for us this year. Guys like that I just want to build the Cup program so they have somewhere to go when they're ready. So that to me is what we're trying to do over the next couple of years and on the Cup side of it. And, when it comes to the partnership with Celsius, just trying to, just like on the Cup side of it, just grow together and keep making it better.
I'd like to thank you very much for talking to me this morning, and have a great weekend. Once again, I'd like to thank AJ Allmendinger, the people at Celsius, his PR team, as well as Michael for helping along with the interview. She gave me a lot of answers, good questions asked, and some information that I was able to use to get some better information out of AJ Allmendinger. So I thank you once again for that. Are you a race car driver, crew chief, pit member, track owner? Maybe you're just a huge fan of the sport. Contact us to get your spot on the show. After all, you deserve your 50 minutes of fame, and we'd love to hear from you. The best way to do that is to head to the website for the program. That's Thursday Night Thunder Podcast.podbean.com. You can also head to Motorsports News and Views.wordpress.com. Either way, you'll be able to get information to find your way onto this show. You can also go to Facebook.com/SD Thursday Night Thunder. This October, Barrett-Jackson, the world's largest collector car auction, will continue its 50-plus year legacy of philanthropy by auctioning the first retail production all-electric 2025 Escalade IQ, VIN number 001, with 100% of the hammer price, benefiting the Detroit Children's Fund.
The sale will be part of the 2024 Scottsdale Fall Auction presented by the Gila River Resorts and Casinos, October 10th through the 13th at Westworld of Scottsdale. The vehicle donated by Cadillac is the brand's first all-electric full-size SUV. Escalade has dominated the luxury full-size SUV segment for 10 years. Now Cadillac is raising the standard with Escalade IQ. The Escalade IQ is built on GM's innovative and modular EV propulsion architecture linked to a dual-motor all-wheel drive setup that delivers more than 200 kWh and a Cadillac estimated range of 460 miles. It boasts a Cadillac estimated 750 horsepower and 785 pounds of torque when using the Velocity Max driver mode for a 0 to 60 mile per hour time of under 5 seconds. It featured standard Super Cruise hands-free driver assistance technology with 3 years of the OnStar Super Cruise Plan 4.
Inside the Escalade IQ is a curved 55-inch total diagonal pillar-to-pillar display, along with an available 40-speaker AKG studio reference audio system when equipped with the available executive second-row seating package. This package includes 14-way power-adjustable heated, ventilated, and massaging second-row seats, along with a center console featuring stowable tray tables, dual wireless charging pads, 12.6-inch diagonal personal screens, and a rear command center. Drivers and passengers can also enjoy the panoramic fixed glass roof, as well as available power open and closed exterior door entry system. The entire sale price will benefit the Detroit Children's Fund, a nonprofit organization dedicated to ensuring Detroit children receive a quality education. Barrett-Jackson has raised more than $155 million for charitable causes over the past 53 years.
Hyundai Motorsport announced today that it will build an LMDH platform race car to compete in endurance sports car racing with its Genesis brand. As such, the car would be eligible to compete in the Grand Touring Prototype, the GTP class of the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, though no series or timeline to begin competing were mentioned. Hyundai has been a manufacturer partner of IMSA since 2019, when it began competing in the touring car class, the TCR, of the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge. Since that time, Hyundai has claimed 5 straight TCR driver and team championships, all with Brian Herta Autosports and Curb Agajanian, and 4 consecutive manufacturer titles.
In only his third season in the NHRA Mission Foods Drag Racing Series, Gage Herrera is just one win away from winning on all the tracks on the Pro Stock motorcycle circuit. If he wins this weekend at the 39th Annual Pep Boys NHRA Nationals at Maple Grove Raceway to open the countdown to the championship, he would have race wins at all Pro Stock motorcycle facilities. Herrera, the reigning Pro Stock motorcycle champion and rider of one of the Revzilla Mission Foods Vance and Hines Suzuki, has won 7 of the 9 motorcycle races this season including most recently at the prestigious Toyota NHRA U.S. Nationals. He currently leads the points heading into the NHRA countdown to the championship playoffs and is on hunt for a second consecutive world title.
Last season, Doug Coletta, Top Fuel, Robert Height, Funny Car, Matt Hartford, Pro Stock, and Matt Smith, Pro Stock Motorcycle, all claimed wins in their respective categories, and this year's race will again be broadcast on FS1 and Fox, including elimination coverage on Fox on Sunday, September 12th, beginning at 2 or 4:30 p.m. Eastern based on local listings. It is the first of 6 races in the countdown to the championship playoffs. Herrera earned 11 wins in 2023, only missing Bristol, Norwalk, Indianapolis, and Reading. This year, only Reading remains on his list. The only other 2 riders to win this season are 2023 Rookie of the Year Chase Van Sant, who won over Herrera in Seattle, and 6-time champion Matt Smith, who won in Sonoma and opens the playoffs second in points.
In the Pro Stock ranks, leader Dallas Glenn heads to Maple Grove Raceway with a 25-point lead over Aaron Stanfield in his Rad Torque Systems Chevy Camaro. Glenn has picked up 3 wins this season and is on the hunt for his first NHRA World Championship. Stanfield has been hot the second half of the year, picking up 4 wins this summer, including Indianapolis. Glenn enters the countdown as the number 1 seed for the second year and is determined to do everything he can to stay on top of a talent-heavy category.
Also in the Pro Stock mix is Greg Anderson with 2 wins this season and reigning champion Erica Enders, who picked up a win in Gainesville. Defending Pep Boys NHRA Nationals winner Matt Hartford hopes returning to Maple Grove can rejuvenate his season. Others to watch include 5-time champion Jade Coughlin Jr., Epping winner Troy Coughlin Jr., Jerry Tucker, and Christian Quadra. In Top Fuel, Coletta's Reading win a year ago spurred his run to a world championship. He'll look to make it 2 in a row, taking on the likes of Justin Ashley, who opens the playoffs second in points, Sean Langdon, Steve Torrance, Antron Brown, Brittany Force, Clay Milliken, and Top Fuel newcomer Tony Stewart.
Funny Car's Austin Prock has taken over his driving duties for Height and will look to keep rolling in Reading. He has 5 wins this season, including entering the playoffs in the points lead while taking on the likes of Bob Castle III, reigning champion Matt Hagan, Ron Capps, J.R. Todd, and Funny Car veteran Jack Beckman, who is racing for John Force. The event also features thrilling competition in the NHRA Lucas Oil Drag Racing Series, as well as FlexJet Factory Stock Showdown and Johnson's horse-powered Garage Mountain Motor Pro Stock.
Fans will be invited all weekend long to the Nitro Alley stage, which is the main entertainment hub in the pits, hosting Nitro School, meet and greets, music, and much more. Race fans at Maple Grove Raceway can enjoy the special pre-race ceremonies that introduce and celebrate each of the drivers racing for the prestigious Wally on Sunday and includes the fan favorite Sealmaster Track Walk. The final can't-miss experience of any NHRA event is the Winner's Circle celebration on Sunday after racing concludes, where fans are invited to congratulate the event winners. As always, fans get an exclusive pit pass to the most powerful and sensory-filled motorsports attraction on the planet in Reading. Fans can get a unique chance to see teams in action and service their hot rods between rounds, get autographs from their favorite NHRA drivers, and more. They can also visit NHRA's popular Nitro Alley and Manufacturers Midway, an exciting atmosphere that includes interactive displays, merchandise, food, and fun for the entire family.
NHRA Mission Foods Drag Racing Series qualifying will feature 2 rounds at 2:30 and 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday, September 13th, and the final rounds of qualifying on Saturday, September 14th at noon and 12:30 and 2:30 p.m. Final eliminations are scheduled for 10:30 a.m. on Sunday, September 15th. Television coverage includes qualifying action on Fox Sports 1 at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday, as well as at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday, and eliminations on Fox at 2 and 4:30 Eastern Time on Sunday. To purchase tickets to the Pep Boys NHRA Nationals at Maple Grove Raceway, fans can visit maplegrovewraceway.com. All children 12 and under are admitted free in the general admission area with a paid adult. For more information on the NHRA, please visit nhra.com. Did you have a shot to get to any drag racing events this season?
No, we did not. We did not. I wanted to go, of course, to the one in Seattle, but I'm just not so sure that our my baby would. I'm I'm not just sure how he would have liked it just yet, and that's kind of a long ways for us to go for him to not like it. So that's kind of
Right.
why we opted out of going this year, but hopefully next year.
You know, want to be one of those people with the little kid with the huge earplugs on, with the headphone things, wandering around the track.
Well, he does very well with his headphones when we go to like our local racing around here. I'm just not so sure the headphones that he has right now, I should say, would be good enough for that kind of caliber of racing. So I'm not sure. Maybe I just overthink and maybe I'm a fun sucker, but
Big headphones and a big gas mask would be all set.
yeah, see the gas, that would have slipped my mind completely, and then I would have had a baby with big headphones and teary eyes, and it just would have been a recipe for disaster.
Is well, NHRA is sort of like that. I don't know. I think the first NHRA event I went to, I was like maybe 12, and I think that's a pretty good age to go. Any younger is okay, I suppose, but I thought 12 was okay, and even at 12, I got a little worn out. The weather wasn't the best. Florida has some bad habit of having bad weather for racing in March, which I think is why they always have racing in March. But it's warm and it's raining, and they've had that happen in Gainesville more times than I'd like to count. So hopefully it improves. I don't know if we'll ever make it back to Gainesville. I'm hoping at least once, maybe twice at some point in the future. But it's a heck of a drive. And this last time it was 6 hours, and that's way too far to drive in a car for a race. If it was 3 hours, it would be okay. And it's supposed to be 3 hours, but we got caught in traffic. The weather was nasty, everything else. So hopefully it improves. Hopefully it gets better. And hopefully, I'm hoping that eventually they have a racetrack back here in Palm Beach County. There was talk about that again today. So they're hyping it. They're pushing it. But the talk about today it was stupid because the sort of a thing where one of the county commissioners, her husband runs a body shop, and anybody who knows anything about racing, especially racing at A caliber, will know that a body shop for normal cars is not the sort of shop that they take any sort of race car to, especially not for definitely not for hobby drivers, for the NHRA, for their sportsman guys, definitely absolutely not for the professionals. So it's kind of funny. There's people pushing both ways for the racetrack there on 20 Mile Bend in Southern Boulevard. So we're hopeful. I keep researching and trying to figure out who I can get on the program here to talk about it. I know I'll find somebody before the end of the year. Depends on what our off season is like for the show this year. I know that because we're no longer affiliated with Speedway Digest, we're probably not going to take the same amount of time off. I know we'll take a little bit of time off, but it probably won't be the same amount of time. Um, so, because there is a lot of racing going on in January here in South Florida, especially. So, we'll see how it goes. But hopefully, end up getting somebody on about the racetrack here in Palm Beaches shortly. I'm looking forward to that. How did you like the interview with AJ Allmendinger? I thought it came up very well.
It did. It came out very well. I liked the touch of the applause at the end. That was great. I loved it. Loved the applause. But no, it is. It's really interesting to get like all of their different perspectives, and what it's kind of a tough question, I think, to ask him. Oh, who do you think's going to make it into the championship playoffs? Like being him, how do you answer something like that? So I thought it went really well, and I thought he answered the questions really good.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting too. He's had a he hadn't really had the um, most successful career in NASCAR as I think he hoped when he first got involved in the sport. Especially a guy who was the champion in the Indy Racing League, which I sort of touched on briefly during the interview. But he's done okay. I hope he does better next year with College Racing as being full time in NASCAR. in the Cup Series. I think he's done really, really well in competing in the Xfinity Series, and his Cup starts have been pretty good. Hopefully next year has a chance to actually go to victory lane in the Cup Series. I know that that's his goal, but it's a upward battle, especially with people like Colleague Racing. So Colleague Racing is sort of a middle of the road team. Hopefully they have a shot at doing better in the future. I want to bring up another NASCAR tidbit that I told you I was going to bring up, and that has been one of the big talking points the past week, especially between some of the people. It's the fact that the charter system is having some issues. This past week, NASCAR had a meeting of the teams where they had the people renew their charters for the 2024-2025 season. So their charters expire, I believe, it's the end of December of this year, and then they're good for all of next year. People have to pay. They don't actually say what the amount is, but the estimate is roughly $30 million for the charters, and they had to sign up for them by this past weekend. Every team signed up that has the charters, with the exception of two: Front Row Motorsports and 2311 and 23XI Motorsports. Neither one of those teams signed the charter for next year, so that's interesting. The Front Row Motorsports, the owner Bob Jenkins, has commented on that briefly, saying that the reason he didn't sign is because they didn't get all the answers to their questions in time. They had like a 100-page response to a one-page form of questions, and they weren't able to go through it in the day they were given to review it and make sure there weren't any other questions. You never know how much you believe that, but that is a good enough answer for a lot of people. 2311 has other answers. Their main spokesman, of course, is Denny Hamlin. He's the part owner of the team, as well as Michael Jordan, and they have some other issues with NASCAR regarding profit sharing, regarding the input of the teams into the schedule. A lot of listing of grievances, and I think they hoped some of those grievances would be addressed by NASCAR this season. Plus, with the changes in the TV package, I think they want more TV money, more profit sharing, and all that. They didn't get it, and I know that's part of the reason why they didn't sign. It'd be interesting to see what NASCAR does if they end up not allowing those teams to compete in the sport next year. If they work something out between now and the end of the year, which I'm sure they will. Or if they end up in court, which is possible too. I don't think that Michael Jordan and his legal team are afraid of NASCAR, and they shouldn't be. Sometimes NASCAR needs to be pushed, and I think that Jordan and the 2311 team is the team to do that. And if they have the support of Front Row Motorsports, which is winning more now with Michael McDowell and other people, bigger sponsors, bigger money, that could be a good thing too. But it'll be interesting to see how that goes. There was rumors that there was collusion, and there were bribes, and there was all sorts of people saying things about other teams, that people were pushed and threatened and all that. I don't think you can threaten Roger Penske if you want to. I think it's difficult for you to threaten Rick Hendrick and Jeff Gordon. But it can be difficult, possible, but difficult. I don't think you can threaten some of the other teams either. And they can push around Trackhouse Motorsports. That they can push, and I think they did push around some of the other teams. But it'll be interesting to see. What do you think is going to happen with the charter system in NASCAR? How do you think it's going to play out in the end?
So I'm actually not 100% sure what the charter system is. Is that just something that says like, hey, if you pay this much, you're locked in to compete next year, kind of type of thing?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. They give out. It isn't the full field, but they give out. I think there's more than 30 charters for the series. Certain teams have more than one. Some teams have two. Some teams even have three charters, depending on the team. So, but it's sort of like a lock for the teams. It basically guarantees them a spot. It guarantees them a little bit of a percentage of money back. It's sort of a way to ensure that the teams have an interest in competing. and it's been tried in other series as well. In IndyCar, it's been tried. In in IMSA, it's been tried to a smaller extent, and so it'll be something to see how it goes.
So with some of the teams, like you just said, that didn't do the charter, if they go back on it, is it one of those things like the price will kind of go up for them type of thing since they didn't do it before the deadline originally?
Yeah, I think that's what some of the rumors are. The price will go up. And there might be restrictions next year if some of the teams with the charters choose to run another team, an off team, they could even bump those teams out of competition. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on behind the scenes, and some of the teams, some of the people who blog about those sort of thing a lot, Jenna Fryer, Bob Pockris, they had the feeling that it's going to be a turning point for NASCAR. I'm not sure it's going to be a turning point, but I think it'll definitely be interesting to see how it goes.
Yeah, that will be. Have they always did this charter thing, or is it just kind of something they started?
It's fairly new. It's within the past 5 years, I think. So just a way of trying to. It's one of the ideas that Ben Kennedy brought to the forefront when he took a more leadership role in NASCAR. Um, I think it's a good idea in theory, but it's kind of dangerous at times too, because it could piss off the people in NASCAR. It could make the sanctioning body feel a little bit more pressure than I think they're comfortable with at times. It's the same sort of thing as the driver and owner organization that they started several years ago, where they pushed a little bit harder. And I think the charters was NASCAR's answer to that, to try and make the teams happier without having them form their own organization. So
Does that excuse me? Does that make it, in a sense? I mean, not does it, but would it make it a little bit more difficult for like these people that go out and do kind of one race, two race, the ones that don't do like the whole season, do they have to do the charter too? Or
no, no, no. The charter is for the full season people, and in a way that the charter protects them from people like the one off teams, because it guarantees them a spot. It guarantees them more say as to how pit road is gone, how the practices, how the schedule, that sort of thing. So it's supposed to be helpful for the teams, and I think it is in ways, but it also is a way for NASCAR to keep a better tabs on the teams themselves, to keep more control over them, to make sure they don't go out on their own and try and run another race, sort of like what the Professional Racers Organization does for NHRA, where they run some of their own events on the side in addition, or not really in competition to the National Hot Rod Association, but in addition to the National Hot Rod Association. Um, the same sort of thing as IndyCar did with the championship auto racing teams many years ago, when the race teams basically they bought out the series, and they had control over it. I think that's what NASCAR was afraid of, and that's kind of why they developed the charters.
that makes. Huh. So do you think it's going good? I know you said they've just kind of put it into place the last 5 years or so. Would you say it's made a bit of a difference?
I think it's made a little bit of a difference, but not as much of a difference as some of the teams like Denny Hamlin and the 2311 team were hoping. They want a bigger piece of the money, and with the fact that NASCAR still gets a lion's share of the money, and the tracks get a percentage of the money. And considering NASCAR owns most of the tracks they compete on now, they're not even a separate company anymore. They're all just NASCAR tracks. Um, it's a kind of a one hand taking money from the other hand, and the money goes in the same pocket. And I think the teams want a bigger share of that money, so they can put it in their own pockets, which is a good thing. Um, Especially considering the NASCAR money hasn't gone down as much as attendance has, um, physical attendance at the tracks. The ratings might still be okay, and they are. In some races, they're really, really good, but the physical attendance has definitely gone down for some of the events, and I think the teams see that because the teams are guaranteed more. In some cases, they guaranteed more gate revenue, but they don't get the revenue from TV as much. So, kind of a dangerous game they play with money sometimes, and it's interesting how it goes. It's interesting to see how it'll play out, and hopefully it all works out. But I think that NASCAR will end up in court eventually because the people like 2311 and Front Row and other teams, I'm sure as well, they want a bigger hunk of the money that NASCAR gets from the broadcast rights, and they need it, they deserve it.
So, I did read that Juan Pablo Montoya is coming back for the Watkins Glen race, and it'll be his first Cup race since 2014. Do you think that will help their ratings this weekend?
I know it will. It'll help a lot, but it'll be cool to see him too. I think he is a little bit old compared to a lot of the drivers in NASCAR, but NASCAR is looking for, especially the Cup Series, they're looking for people, marquee drivers, so they can hold their hat on, that they can advertise to the people, and Montoya is definitely that. The problem that NASCAR has right now is they don't have a lot of marquee drivers. They've got a few people like Kyle Larson, people like Kyle Busch, um, but if you see people like Michael McDowell, or you see people like I can't even think of the names now. If you see AJ Allmendinger, heck, but AJ Allmendinger he sort of stands out a team bit more. But if you see 90% of the drivers in the NASCAR Cup Series garage in public, aside from the marquee drivers, and Jimmy Johnson is a marquee driver, but you don't see him as much anymore. But if you see any of those guys out in public, you wouldn't know who they are. Most people would have no clue who they are, and that's what NASCAR is looking for: people you know who they are, you know what they do, you know they walk for you, they walk for the sport, they drive, they are walking advertisements, and NASCAR has a problem with that now. They need to figure that out. The personalities of the people is different now than it used to be. Even with Jimmy Johnson, who was really a corporate driver, um, he at least had some personality to him. Kyle Busch has his own personality, but I think a lot of Kyle Busch's personality is an act, especially if you see what he does after the races when he interacts with teams, he interacts with the fans a lot more. He seems to be a really good guy, but he's got that bad boy attitude when he's at the track. So what they need to do is actually have their personality shine through, show who they are. They have to be careful. They have to walk a tightrope there because they can't turn into professional wrestling type thing where they have everything's written out and you got thrown bad guys, good guys, all that. They've tried that in the past a little bit with NASCAR, with other series as well. It doesn't work. What they need to do is let the racers be the racers. Let them do what they want to do. They're good guys. They know how to win races. They know how to get the fans involved. They have to be entertainers to get to this level of sport. And if they were if they were given that opportunity, able to talk to people, to talk to more people, able to get their faces out there, then it would be a much rare thing for professional racing in this country. Not only for NASCAR, but for everybody else. Not only for professional racing, but for everybody else. And and that's what they need. Whether they get that is a totally different question, but that is what they
Well, you better write NASCAR an email.
need. Yeah. Well, NASCAR and I had a little bit of a falling out earlier this year, which is why I've got this show now and not the Speedway Digest thing, but that's okay. Um, so I think that in some cases, NASCAR is good at what they do. They're very good at putting together the Cup Series races. They're pretty good at putting together the other races, the Xfinity Series, the Truck Series, although they need a lot more people in the seats for those races. Um, and I think in some cases they're okay at the IMSA races, but I think a lot of the IMSA races, luckily, still have their own personality behind them. They still have their own people behind them. When NASCAR tries to bring stuff into those races, they piss off people. They piss off not only old time fans but new fans. So they have to be careful with what they do. I think they're being better at that now than they were even at the beginning of this year. They're trying things differently. They're trying to let things flow a little bit better, and I know they will. But it'll be interesting to see how that goes. What I'm really interested in seeing is how the Nitrocross series is. I know they've redone the Nitrocross series again. They've got it's been a really good year so far. I've been writing a few articles about them on Motorsport News and Views. I did sign up for the media access to the race in Miami, which will be at the Miami Marine Stadium. For those of you South Floridians who've never been to the Miami Marine Stadium, you should go. It's an awesome facility right there on the water in Biscayne Bay. So it'll be cool to see how that goes. It'll also be interesting to see the Nitro Circus there and see how they incorporate that. And it'll be neat to see how the Miami Marine Stadium has been restored. I know they had a lot of issues after Hurricane Andrew and other hurricanes. They had a lot of vandalism, that sort of thing. But hopefully it's a better facility than it used to be. I know they've had the boat show there for the past couple of years. But it'll be neat to see how they set up the racetrack. I'm pretty sure they'll use at least some sort of water element. Being the Marine Stadium, I'm sure they'll have some sort of driving over water. It'll be cool. It'll be neat. Maybe they'll do a jump or something. So we'll see how that goes. It'll be really cool to go down there. That's next January. Also looking forward to other races next year, but that's the big one that I think would be cool next year. Formula One, of course, is going to be back next year to Miami. Formula One is getting ready to race in Las Vegas soon. I've started to do a little bit of research about that again. Not going to be able to make it out there this year. Just too much junk going on. But hopefully, eventually, make it out to the Formula One race in Las Vegas. What would be the bucket list race you'd like to go see?
Well, I'd probably one of my goals is to make it to the Daytona 500 with my dad one day, just because he's just so into NASCAR. He's just so into NASCAR.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I like all racing really. So if I got the chance to go to just a race out of the ordinary, just to race it all, I think it'd be pretty cool. But my absolute bucket list race would probably be the Daytona 500. What about you?
I'd highly recommend the Daytona 500. It's pretty cool. I think that eventually, maybe going out to the Indianapolis 500 would be awesome. I think that would be pretty neat to see the track in Indianapolis, the history there, go to the museum, all that sort of stuff. That's really neat. But I do agree, the Daytona 500 is really, really cool. I highly recommend the museum there. And if you're going to go to the Daytona 500, you go there for the whole day. If you go there for the whole weekend. But if you're going to be there, you get there for the whole day. You get there early in the morning. You go through the displays. You see all the stuff there, and you make a whole full day of it. And you keep your fingers crossed it doesn't rain, because the last time I was at 500, it rained, and that's a whole different story. But that was not the most fun event. So. But it is a really neat event. It's really fun. But it goes without a hitch. It's great with all the pop and circumstance, all the different celebrity appearances, the Thunderbirds, and that sort of thing. And the fact that it's the first big race of the year, really cool. I think the fact that they start the racing out in California now is something really, really interesting. And I know that there were some rumors that the race there in the Coliseum might have seen its last days. I know there hadn't been any official announcement of that, I don't believe yet. But they are looking for another venue there in California. So that would be cool to head out there too, to go and see the race at the Coliseum would have been interesting. And if they have it again, which I'm hoping they do, that would be cool too.
Yeah, no, that does look cool. Where were they? Because I did read that they were talking about moving that race from the Coliseum. Wasn't it to like another dirt track or something like that?
Yeah, well, they thought about dirt tracks. They thought about Dodger Stadium as well. There's a lot of space in there. There's the same amount of space there as there is at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. So a lot of different ideas. So it'd be cool to see if they come up with something different. I know they put a lot of money into trying to get the Coliseum race to go really well, and the past few years it just hasn't. It hasn't had the support, the local support. It hasn't had the viewership on TV or anything. It's just they haven't gone quite the way they hoped, and even the weather hasn't cooperated with them as much as good. NASCAR and weather, they fight a lot, but they need to do something. And I'm happy they've tried different things. I think it'll be cool to see what they do next there. And I think that they have great ideas. Ben Kennedy's an awesome guy, and he has some great ideas that he hopefully is able to fight for a little bit harder to move into the schedule. The fact they're going to be racing in Mexico at the circuit Hermanos Rodriguez next year is really, really cool. Racing in Mexico City is awesome for NASCAR. It's awesome for the national growth of the sport. I think it'll be a neat race too. It's a great facility, and there's a lot of really good people who enjoy NASCAR racing there in Mexico. I even think they should probably incorporate some of the NASCAR, some of the other drivers, other Mexican drivers into the sport there when they travel to Mexico. I think the Pato Award would be cool to have like a one-off with him racing and the brothers Hermanos Rodriguez there, the circuit Hermanos Rodriguez in Mexico City. I know he's raced there before. And there's other drivers who might be interesting to see there as well. So it's been a great time today talking to AJ Allmendinger. We've had a pretty productive show, and I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up now. If we're going to let's go ahead and mention the fact that tomorrow, for those of you in South Florida here, tomorrow, Saturday, and I believe a little bit on Sunday, they're going to have a flash sale for Fright Nights at the South Florida Fairgrounds tickets. Those tickets will be $22.50 each, which is roughly half cost. It's getting a little pricey to head out there to Fright Nights, so $22.50 is a hell of a lot better than paying $45. That guarantees you 35 Fright tickets. I'm not sure exactly how much that works per house. I believe they did charge about 5 tickets per house last time, so that would be 7 visits. But I'm not sure if they're going to do that same thing this year, if they're going to do something different. But again, head to look up the Fright Nights at the South Florida Fairgrounds. That's myfrightnights.com. Check that out, and you can get tickets for half price. That starts, I believe, at midnight tonight, but don't quote me on that. But if you get on there anytime tomorrow, Saturday, and most of Sunday, you should be able to get tickets for the Fright Nights at South Florida Fairgrounds. That is coming up. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to be heading out there probably for the opening weekend, and I believe we're going to be heading out there for the second weekend. At least I am, and probably for another weekend as well. As I stated, I've had some medical issues this year, which are limiting my travel. So, going to the Fright Nights at South Florida Fairgrounds will be my first big event there. We're also going to be heading down to Nightmare Village. I did just confirm that with one of the guys who runs the facility at the Extreme Action Park. So we're going to be heading down there on October 19th. They also have tickets available. I don't know if they have any discount tickets available for that yet. If they do, they haven't announced them officially. But be sure to check that out as well. We have a lot of great events here in South Florida, and we used to have more, but those two are the big ones. There's the Horrorland in Miami as well, if you want to travel that far south. And then, of course, there's all the big stuff in Central Florida. There's a lot of fun things happening for the holiday, Halloween, fall season. Be sure to check those out. I may be running an article on for Warpland's Fantastic Finds about that, but we'll get to that in a second. Be sure to check out past episodes of Thursday Night Thunder, as well as the other shows on the Speedway Digest Radio Network at blogtalkradio.com/Speedway Digest Radio. You can also check out this show on Facebook by visiting facebook.com/SD Thursday Night Thunder. And you can listen to previous episodes of this show at Thursday Night Thunder Podcast.podbean.com. I also invite you to check out my new racing podcast news site at motorsportsnewsandviews.wordpress.com. I posted a ton of stuff on there this week. Be sure to check it all out. Some great stuff there. The things we touched on tonight, I'm probably not going to touch on those much on the site, but there are a lot of other informational stories there about all different racing, from Nitrocross to Supercross, from NASCAR, IndyCar, NHRA. Any series you can think of, I try and post at least something about it. If they send me information, it goes up on the site, so be sure to check it out there. In addition, if you're a fan of South Florida, and who isn't, be sure to check out the latest news and information about our slice of paradise and my travel blog for Fort Plum's Fantastic Finds. You can be found on Facebook, Twitter, that's at Fort Plums, FABORPLUMBS, and at PB Happening, at PBHAPPENING. And by heading to For Plum's Fantastic Finds, that's FABORPLUMBS, Fantastic Finds.wordpress.com, where we're going to have a lot of holiday stuff there, a lot of Halloween stuff. It's going to be a great time. I should have a Halloween preview story up there tomorrow because it is Friday the 13th, and I'm just funny like that.
Thank you for listening, and we look forward to seeing you again next week in the Thunderdome as we discuss the major issues in the world of modern auto racing.
Have a great night, and thank you for listening.